So my name is Leslie Gottfried. I work for Saltbox. If you're new to these, I'm going to give a quick overview on, what this thing is, and just want to thank y'all for joining. But we've done webinars in the past at Saltbox. We call them the Concrete Conversations. They're very fun. We invite our members to join. We invite other greater, larger community, e-commerce community, anyone who wants to join. We've taken a little break from them, and we're super, super excited to reintroduce this one today with our friends from Suna and WM Marketplace. So it's going to be super fun. We're going to record this. So if you'd like the recording afterwards, we will email it out. And if you have anyone that was planning to join that's not able to make it, then we can forward that along to them. So without further ado, just want to say Happy New Year. I cannot believe it's already February. We're excited to be here with all of you guys today. I'm going to give a quick overview on our presenters, and then I will help continue to moderate throughout the call. Please don't be shy. We would love for y'all to interact with us in the chat box. You can post questions, comments. If you love what someone's sharing, please, comment that as well. We will have 3 presenters, and we will also have members from all 3 of those teams also monitoring the chat box. So if you do have questions, we should be able to answer those throughout, and then we'll do a Q&A at the end. So I'm going to kind of go through the structure of the call and give a little overview on each person. So Suna, we're going to kick off the call with Suna. They are a self-serve content creation platform and the home of the virtual shoot. So if you have products that you would like to have photographed, you can send them to one of their locations, and they will receive your product for you and put together this absolutely beautiful curated shoot, and all your product photography will be available to you after that. They have a really amazing team that we've had the benefit of getting to know pretty well over the past year, and they have a passion for providing scalable way for small businesses to elevate their product photography. They will be speaking today on content that works. So excited for that. Next up, we will have Madeline from WM Marketplace, and she will be talking about, providing a way, really just using the content that we talk about in the first section as part of building an overall social media strategy. So WM Marketplace, if you're not aware, they're an economic engine for women. They're female owned, and they're committed to creating a community that supports other women. Their mission is to close the economic gender gap by empowering women entrepreneurs to grow and thrive while providing a destination for consumers to shop their values. My favorite quote from their website is, "Women doing business with women will change the world." So excited for that. And then last but certainly not least, our very own Bryn Morlock. She's a Saltbox employee, and she is our fulfillment product manager. She's really become kind of our in-house expert in all the ways that Saltbox can help support growth and fulfillment here at Saltbox. So today she'll be speaking on how you can take your logistics to the next level after you've successfully established your content strategy. I'm thrilled to have these wonderful presenters with us today, and it's going to be great to see how all these topics are woven together nicely. So I'm sure you're tired of hearing me talk. As we move into the next section, I'm going to have Jared, if you'll come onto the stage. Nice. Excellent. I'm going to leave the stage. The only way that people can hear you is if they come onto the stage themselves. So throughout the call, if you'd like to speak with Jared, you can do that. But again, just please put any questions you have in the chat box. And then in addition to that, I'm going to be dropping some polls throughout that are relevant to your presentation, but also just general questions that we have for our community as well. So without further ado, Jared, take it away. And thanks for being with us today.
Very cool. Thank you, Leslie. I think this interface is fairly self-explanatory. So I'm going to share, I hope, the right window here, and let me just take a gander. Okay, that looks positive. Let me put in presentation mode so I don't give away all my goods. Hi, my name is Jared, and this fantastic slide deck, I should say this before I do anything, was made more appealing and dazzling by Sarah Moffat, who is an absolutely incredible creative. And one day she's going to tire of making my lackluster efforts much better, and she will leave. And when she does, I'll shoot a flare into the air. And that means that anybody watching should prepare their 6-figure offers for her and her incredible talent. So I'm going to move on here and get into what we're doing. Suna and Saltbox. As you know, Saltbox provides this incredible workspace for people that they can get their business started. They have all the things they need so they can move forth and grow. And Suna, we provide content for these people to externalize what they're doing, share their project, their product, make it look as awesome online as it is in real life. We feel like, as an 80s child, this Suna Saltbox connection is not unlike those Reese's peanut butter cup ads where somebody eating chocolate would run into someone eating peanut butter. Now, this is an 80s era reference. I may be losing some people, but we feel like there's a peanut butter chocolate connection here betwixt the two of us. So like I said, my name is Jared. I really do dig Whitney. It's just awesome. And I'll start here with a little story about story. And I'll move off this slide so I'm not doing that. I'm not staring at you the whole time. But a little story about story. So I started out in radio. I was this young, cocky DJ who, when I was 21, I got this job on a classic rock radio station. And I replaced this guy that everybody loved. He was this older guy with his gravelly voice, and he could talk about Lynyrd Skynyrd for days. And I didn't know diddly about Lynyrd Skynyrd. I came on there, and I was just a trash talking disaster, and things were going terrible. And the owner of the station actually stopped by my apartment, and he was like, "What can we do for you?" And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, "People want to hurt you, Jared." He's like, I get calls every day. People want to hurt you, and you need to turn this around. And I was like, well, I could start maybe telling some stories. Because at the time I would do fundraisers. I would go to nursing homes. I would just tell stories because I had this weird redneck upbringing. And he's like, do that. And I was like, well, I'm kind of courting this girl who is not my wife. And I was like, I could tell the story about that, the trial and error of the dating process. He's like, do that. Just do that every day, 7:50 a.m. I want to hear you come on the air. I want no more than 2 minutes. Less is more, Jared. And I want you to update people on what's going on with your dating process. And I was like, okay, that's weird. But that's a cliffhanger. I'm going to stop there. But I'm setting up as to why story is important here and humanity in general. So what do we do? Okay, just forget. We're at the cliffhanger on the story. So now we're moving from classic rock radio back to Suna. So here's what we'll cover. How Suna works, how you can use Suna, what content actually works, what people are saying about Suna. And I should say there are promo codes that are valued at $93 that are good for video or GIFs embedded in this presentation. I know my attention span, so I'm working my tail off to maintain yours. So how does Suna work? Now, some of you know this, but our CEO, Liz Georgie, she has said that she wants to make the internet more beautiful. And I think we are definitely making headway in doing that because people need content. They need proof of existence. They need the ability to show that their product is real and that it's useful and that they can grab the person's attention who is looking and shopping and at the same time kind of missing the bricks and mortar experience because they want to touch it and feel it. But alas, the photo was so dang good that they still move forward with the purchase. So we are really the only virtual platform for photo and video for people who want it awesome custom content delivered in 24 hours that they can direct on their couch. I mean, you send in your product and then you get together with a creative and their sidekick and direct the shoot. And what we're doing is just, taking your product from in your house or in your warehouse, in your Saltbox space, and we're allowing you to bring it to life and put it online and give people that comfort of the bricks and mortar feel. How does Suna work? Well, you simply go online. There's a book now button on the upper right, or is it the create button? You click that, you book your shoot, you ship your goods, you join the shoot, and then you collaborate with the crew, and then you get to shop your shoot. Like while you're sitting there collaborating with our crew, pictures and videos of your product are popping up, and then you can shop that a la carte. So as compared to saying, trying to book models at a shoot for, several $1,000s with maybe some photos you may not all want, but you have to pay for it at one time. We offer that experience where you can pick and choose down the road. Oh yeah, we're going to be in Seattle soon. That we're working on that. We're going to pop up in Seattle at a Saltbox location. I am very excited. You're going to see a lot of media from us. If it's too much, I apologize, but repetition is reputation, so I got to get on that. But our Suna studios that we have now are in Denver, Minneapolis, and Austin. You get full video and photo capabilities, the lifestyle scenes like the photos you see here. We have props you can use for free. We have a crew of creatives who are just so happy, so stoked to have this space where they can do what they want to do as with their career. We do the $39 photos. Be looking for those promo codes. That's a very, it's less than subtle hint that are good for the video clips or the GIFs. And there's some standard editing with it, or you can add on some other editing. And the cool thing that people dig too is, I don't know if you've ever tried to book a model, but it's a little cray. So we come with models. We have a wide variety of human models that are fantastic and pet models. And so you could get on there, you could book, you can get the styling. Some people just like the hand model because it adds that humanity. We'll do grocery shopping for you. We have the lifestyle scenes. It looks like, the apartment from Friends there. You're putting your product and your model in a place that can relate to people, or if it doesn't directly relate to them, it's aspirational. They're like, ooh, subconsciously looking at that and thinking, wow, those shoes would look really good in that groovy place. Okay, so how do you use Suna? I love this 8-ball gift, by the way. It's fantastic, Sarah. Your content is yours. It's simply, you're just telling a story. You want your content to inspire action. You want to put the shoppers in that experience because, you're missing that bricks and mortar. They don't get to hug the sweater. You know what? I need to make sure people are asking questions and let people know they can ask questions here because I was looking at the wrong interface, but just let me know.
Jared, I'll keep an eye on it for you. Okay. And yeah, we can leave a little bit of time at the end for live Q&A if that's helpful.
We have Q&A. How am I doing on time, Leslie?
Great question. I didn't actually block a specific time for you.
Okay.
I would probably another 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, we could do that. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so what you're doing, does it represent you? Do you feel good? Is it representing your brand? And are you maintaining consistency? Which is really when I tell people about story with brands, it's not like a 500-word scroll on Facebook, but it is that ongoing commitment to your customers and your employees that you are not only sharing what you're doing, but why. And you're gradually revealing that and are committed to it on a regular basis. Now, how can you use Suna? Well, the click to cart magic with beautiful content. I mean, if it looks great, people are more likely to buy it. Every purchase online comes down to content. And you get the dazzling digital ads. I mean, people's 9-grid on their Insta, that's almost becoming an international sport as to how it looks. You can stay on trend with us. We have regular trend sets like our Valentine's Day trend sets coming up. You can launch your entire e-commerce site, which, by the way, we have a contest right now where you can win that opportunity. We'll do a super glow up on your content for your website. Refresh your selling platform. Social media is big. And we're going to talk about how people have used Suna and what has worked. We're getting into that. And then people, you get the photos and you only need to buy one, to get started, $39. And after that, you have this whole gallery you can go back to and buy over time. And like I mentioned, we have the trend sets that you can use to appeal to people during various trends and holidays like Valentine's Day coming up. And one thing that people pointed out to us, they're like, I love your content, but sometimes I struggle in how to use it in various platforms, e-commerce platforms. And this is so true. I don't know if you've looked at, say, Amazon's photo requirements, but if you're an entrepreneur who is 100% invested and making something, it almost breaks your brain when suddenly you're squinting late at night trying to figure out exactly what Amazon wants with your photos and dimensions. So we have these pick-a-packs that are pre-built. So you send us the product and we deliver to you the content as with the aspect ratios and everything that, say, Shopify or Amazon would need. So that's been very popular. So what does work? What are we doing? Well, we use humans. We do really like humans. Behind the scenes, I'm going to share that. Animals, I mean, that you have to get a little trickier with animals now because there's so many out there. If you want to get attention and make a point, we love our case studies, sharing our people talking directly to the camera, which is kind of the user-generated content thing, the TikTok phenomena that's moving around. tutorials, education, and testimonials. Now, humans and content. This ties in with the cliffhanger I left you off in the beginning to refresh you. My boss was like, oh my gosh, how do you save yourself? Well, it helped to add humanity for the listener. And that you get to do with your product, because you've probably been looking at a product and your finger is just hovering above the click and you're not exactly sure. But if you add a human to that actually using it, it can increase engagement and click rate. And we use our own humans because there's so many reasons to do this. I mean, one, it's great for morale. Two, it externalizes that internal vibe that you're stoked about and keeps you working 23 hours a day on your project. At three, when you get buy-in from your coworkers, like these people here at our Minneapolis studio location, they're going to engage with your social media. They're going to share it. Not only do they feel better about where they work, but they give you a nice boost in engagement to encourage others to click and share. So we absolutely love sharing our human story. And you add the humanity, it's harder to send crazy, anonymous, angry Facebook comments. Behind the scenes. Now, this started off on TikTok. I'm seeing it succeed on Reels, which is funny. I see our TikTok succeeding more on Reels now than they do on TikTok. But behind the scenes is great. If we do a behind the scenes, we have creatives in there like her. I use the word thriving. I'm not sure if she's exactly thriving, sitting on the floor, smushing cookie dough, but you show that there's that process and it helps a human relate to another human. And you have this short storyline, and a lot of behind the scenes I see is just behind the scenes, but they don't offer the satisfying reveal. Like, you want to see exactly what her making cookies is going to turn into, and you get it there. You'll see here with this reveal. In the beginning of the behind the scenes, you're like, well, what is happening? There's oil and there's something. Is this safe for human consumption? And then you get to see what that turned into, why it was being done. You get to see the creativity of the people that work here and what we put into for your project. Now, animals, yes, easy call, right? Cats have owned the internet forever. My personal opinion is because people struggle with them in real life. But when there's animals, and sometimes you just see people posting animals. But the trick here is, how can you take this animal and its emotions and tie it in with what's going on in the world? Now, this was a nice little post that was put up there, a little serotonin boost for your day. Well, everybody right now in a world where hope is a commodity, love to see that whoever's posting social is understanding that they're sharing maybe a lot of the same sentiments and probably spending too much time on Twitter. An example I use is, I had this, I can't find it, but I took a picture of this dog, Daisy, and she was adorable and cute, and I posted it, not a lot of love. But she was kind of like somber hound dog and droopy eyes. And I'm like, how did the somber droopy eye hound dog not get love? And then I posted again and said, Daisy is stoked to get yet another email from a CEO on how they're handling COVID. Something there where I created that intersection of pet interest and proximate current events that everybody was dealing with, especially in the early part of the pandemic. Testimonials. This is the greatest thing ever. You get a customer to sit down for 10 minutes and you get an interview with them. You not only have that 10-minute interview you can put on YouTube for a longer story, but so many things that we get out of it. We get little clips for various social, little clips for Instagram. Maybe they talk about how they started the business. It's more inspirational, good Pinterest piece. And then we tie it in with affiliate opportunities. We get a testimonial, and that customer tells a little bit of their story. We throw an announcer on there. Jacqueline's amazing. Use Suna like she does. And when you do, use promo code Pepper, you get a free photo. And on the back end, she gets a bit of a kickback. So we've experimented with affiliate programs like that. And even better, it's so great because everybody's preaching their brand, but it's so great when you have a third party talking about brand. And even better, sharing how they use Suna, and it comforts a potential customer. And some of the things our clients are up to, and I'll start motoring here. And Leslie, I think I'm running out of time. But Shield and Heal, great story. Mother-daughter at quarantine. Lisa's been a beautician in beauty products forever. They created this lip balm. They didn't even have the product yet, but they got the photos from us, and that convinced Target. They're like, wow, that looks amazing. When they finally got the product up and running, Target was ready to go to have it in their stores, and it was sold out the first day. And this is a team that was working at home during quarantine, and it's so funny. That's the thing with good content. No matter what your office is, you could be in your mother-in-law's basement, but with good content, you could be as big as you want to be. Gales, awesome story. This goes back to story 2. This guy, Rob, he started out and he has these really nice shoes, like $500 shoes. And he sells these shoes with this story about how the shoe brand was inspired by his grandfather, who was a war hero, and how his grandfather passed on his work ethic and the story of the war to him, and how he knew how it was good for a dude to dress up. And so he had this shoe model thing. And then he's in the hospital because his buddy's got COVID. He's really struggling. And so he's at the hospital so long, he starts talking to nurses about what they need. And they're like, we need better shoes. There's a very high infection rate from bad nursing shoes, from stuff that gets on the floor. So he created these shoes. He had this amazing story, and he has great user-generated content from nurses who are wearing the shoes. And he comes to us so we can use the models to wear the shoes. And his product has done quite well. Now he has 2 shoe companies, and he's focusing more on Gales because of the need in the healthcare industry. And then Bim Bam Boo, Zoe in Minneapolis. Are you kidding me? Here she is. She decides she wants to start a business, gets the content, and starts the business in a weekend. And she says, if I didn't have the content, I couldn't start the business. So that's just how important, getting good content is. And what she does too, and what she explained in a tutorial that she did while we were interviewing her for a testimonial, she did a tutorial on how you can reshop your gallery at Suna, because a lot of people don't have $500 or $600 cash lying around if they're starting out entrepreneur, but you can go and a la carte it, a minimal amount per photo. And Snow, Josh Snow is one of these entrepreneurs who make you go home and wonder what you're doing with your life, because he started very young, but a lot of social strategy. He's always being inventive. Their original colors for Snow that he built around the big brand influencer campaign on Instagram was blue and white. And he wanted to test exactly how to stop more thumbs on social. So he came out with a red product. He saw 20% more engagement right away. And one of the things in discussing with him, getting a testimonial from him, is that a lot of times people stress out about brand on their third-party sites, on the social media and stuff. And while that's important, every once in a while, you got to have a thing that stops thumbs. Like, I think a problem with Suna is we're so on brand with our Instagram, it just looks like beautiful wallpaper. But if you start putting things on there, maybe it's the user-generated content and other things, that's a real thumb stopper. And he discovered that with Snow and getting people to move to his site. And people, Wild Earth, they're getting the content they need for a quick turnaround so that they can have products launched. So if you get a timetable for a new product, it's not going to be content that is going to slow you down. And they use pet models, so they're automatically a winner. Snow, Josh helped us. We just had our Series B funding. We did a big press release. He did some quotes for us. And one thing he talked about too is if you're a growing business, you really don't have time for content. You don't have time to, I did this at the last company I was at. We were like, oh my gosh, we need content for this new sale. And so I'm walking around the office with a camera, trying to find somebody who feels good enough to be in a photo. So it's nice to take that off the plate so that you can work on some other high value opportunities within the workplace. So before I get into questions, I'll finish my story here. And that is the owner of the company. He's like, dude, you got to tell a story. I want you to just start telling a story. And things were desperate. People want to be dead. Listeners want to be gone, out of town. So I started telling the story of courting my then girlfriend. And within 3 weeks, we started trending upward from 10% of women 25 to 34 to 33% of women 25 to 34, and saved my career. And when I decided to go from radio to tech, I wasn't sure if I had the skills, because for the most part, I was introducing Britney Spears songs and sharing the weather every 15 minutes. But that ability to tell a story was super helpful. And it kind of goes back to that when I was just so desperate, I was like, well, I'll just talk about my sordid personal life on a regular basis. So any questions anybody might have?
That was awesome. Thank you. I had a question, actually. It's a little bit of a long question because I know the answer, but I think it'll be helpful for people on the call to hear. So how much of the relationship between Suna and people sending their content, like how much of that is collaborative? And like, do you guys, like if I wanted to send my product to you, would you just sort of recommend what you think, or do I need to be there? Or like, is there a discovery call? Like for people that don't know, who maybe would need more direction or would kind of want to partner on that. Is it that kind of like, that relationship there, or is it more like they need to tell you exactly what they want before they send their stuff to you?
Yes and no. And I should cover that more, but I got lost in 1997, Four Corners, America. But that's so big because people get intimidated when they're in the flow and they're booking their shoot, and there's 3 empty fields and it's asking for details on the shoot. I think people get intimidated there. And once you get on the shoot, you have the creative there and a sidekick there, and you can talk through what you want to do. And a lot of times when we have people that aren't 100% sure, our creative will take some photos and say, what about this? Where can we go from here? And that helps create an organic conversation that leads to the content that people want. It's a real comfortable environment, and you're conducting it from wherever you want to be. So that's helpful, but that's super valid. Thank you for asking.
Great. Sarah, do you want to address some of the questions in the chat box?
Yeah, I'm working on it. They're coming.
Yeah, I didn't even have the chat. I was on polls apparently the whole time, so I didn't see a lot of these questions.
Your job is done. You did an excellent job presenting. That's what you're here for.
Well, that's great because my kids have a snow day and they want to have their friends over, and I wouldn't let them do it until I was done here.
That's hilarious. That's real life. That's exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's life.
So one of the questions is, say you want to book 3 videos, a testimonial, a how-to, and a social promo. Do you have to book out the studio for each order, or can they combine somehow?
I believe, let's see, testimonial, how-to, social promo, you could combine that, and that would be recommended to get that studio time, combine that. And I would have to look, do you have to book out the studio for each order they can combine? Yes, definitely combine, because you're going to want, especially with the testimonial, you're going to need to do a studio buyout, and so you could own the space and not have any audio issues, and you could own that moment for your video.
Okay, awesome. There is a question about how much it costs a small business to start with Suna. I don't know if you want to give an overview, but I know on your website there's like the different packages. I don't know if you want to maybe direct them there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just to get started, my first name is a promo code Jared. That Jared, the cool way to spell it, and that will give you the shoot for free. That will get you started, and then from there, the shoot's free. You have this whole library that you got with your shoot. From there, then you can choose a la carte between $19 and $39 on the reshop there. And okay, yeah, Sarah, thank you. So she's got it. She's got it. But that's the thing, is we just want to make it super accessible for anyone so they can get started and create that shoot.
Sweet. I think that might wrap it up for the Suna questions, unless there's anybody else that has not spoken yet. Feel free to raise your hand or drop it in the chat box.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to type a message here. My email is jared@Suna. And you can always just email them.
Great. Yeah. And I did put a link to y'all's giveaway, the Glow Up giveaway. So check that out. And thanks again so much for your time. We're going to move on now to Madeline with the WM Marketplace. And then Colleen is going to be moderating. So if you'd like to exit the stage, Jared, and Madeline, if you would like to join, I do have y'all's presentation. Would you like for me to go ahead and share it?
Yeah, yes, please. Okay. That would be amazing.
Perfect.
And then when it's next slide, I just say next slide. I don't press anything. I don't want to mess anything up.
Okay. And actually, do you see down at the bottom the arrows? You can
perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I don't. I actually just see one that says leave stage.
Okay, then I'll
sorry, I just found him. I got him.
the joys of just, learning as we go, right?
I love it. Okay, perfect. Awesome. And yeah, thank you, Colleen. Colleen's in the background and she is in the chat and can answer questions, which is amazing. Perfect. So to kick it off, I know Leslie introed us in the beginning, but real quick, my name's Madeline and I run the social and marketing efforts at the W Marketplace. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Super amazing. Before I dive into tips and kind of just social media one-on-one best practices, I want to touch on the W Marketplace. For those of you that aren't familiar, the W Marketplace is on a mission to close the economic gender gap by empowering women entrepreneurs to grow and thrive while providing a destination for consumers to shop their values. So when you're on the W Marketplace, what can you find? You can shop products from women-owned businesses. You can hire professional services from women-owned businesses. And then in addition to that, you can find nonprofits that empower women and girls. So you can find all of those things on the wmarketplace.com. And also, in addition to that, women entrepreneurs, anyone out there that is a woman-owned business, you are free to join our platform. We basically provide a place to start, pivot, or grow your online business, and we are building a supportive community with favorable selling terms. So on to the next slide. I just want to give you all a rundown of the seller community. This is another piece of the W Marketplace that's a little bit different than other platforms. Not only can you support women-owned businesses on the W Marketplace, you can shop specific communities. We allow our sellers to opt in to these communities. So it's their choice to opt in. So when shopping, you can go and filter and find like Latina-owned businesses, Black women-owned businesses. So supporting these specific communities is something that you're really passionate about. We provide that option and that ability on the wmarketplace.com. So now to dive into just some social 101 best practices, I want to talk about setting up your profiles for success. And of course, I want to start with optimizing your bio. When it comes to setting up your bio, so looking at Instagram specifically, as you can see here, I have a screenshot of our Instagram feed. You really want to try to keep it short. Try to just stick to a quick sentence if you need a quick sentence. And then in addition to that, bullet points are key. You want basically someone to come to your business social media profile and be able to at a glance see what your business does, what you offer, and on Instagram, and then of course on TikTok as well. Bullet points make it so easy to read. Next slide here. So in addition to setting up your profiles for success, we want to talk about links. So you've probably noticed that when you're posting on Instagram and TikTok, you can't really link in your posts. People can't click through on those links that you're adding to your posts like they can when you're on Twitter, LinkedIn, or Facebook. So you definitely want to utilize services like Linktree or Linkfolio. There's a whole bunch of services out there. But basically what this does is it allows you to add multiple links to your profile and drive traffic to your top CTAs. At the W Marketplace, we use Linktree. I know it might look kind of small on the screen, but we have our Linktree in our bio there. I have an example, so once you click on that Linktree there, it pulls up that display, that screenshot I have there of our top links, kind of like a landing page of your links. One nice thing about Linktree is that it's customizable. The free version has a limited number of customizable options, but you can usually find something that is close to your brand colors. And you can always add a profile picture, which should be your logo, or if you want to have a product that has your logo on it, that's an option too. But of course, keep in mind that it is kind of small, so you want to make sure your logo is visible. One tip to using these link services is try to keep the links in order of your posts that you're sending out. So you can have the most important at the top, of course. So whatever link you always want at the top, we usually want the wmarketplace.com or, shop the W Marketplace for us personally. But, so whatever is most important to have is the first link. And then after that, you definitely want to make sure it matches up with your most recent posts that you've sent out for the person that is clicking through, just to make it easy for them to then continue on to your website or to that CTA. Linktree, one other note, since we use Linktree, it integrates with Shopify. We're on Shopify, so this allows you to also pull in products. If you see that our screenshot of our Linktree, there's that little down caret under next to the Shop W Marketplace. If you click that, it allows you to choose 6 products that you want to pull in and showcase on your platform. So this is just kind of another way to showcase what your business offers. It allows someone to easily see a quick snapshot of the products or services that you have on your platform. So that is all about linking. Next thing I want to talk about, tagging products and services. So First, you'll want to make sure you get your Facebook catalog or shop set up via the Commerce Manager in the Business Suite, which they might be calling the Meta Business Suite now, but same thing. Facebook integrates with many websites, which is super nice. For example, again, we're on Shopify, so you can go to the back end of your website. And so for us, the back end of Shopify, and easily integrate and connect our business Facebook account to our Shopify account. I encourage you to check out whether your website integrates with Facebook if you haven't already done this. This basically then auto-populates this catalog and your shop with your products and or services, which means it automatically pulls in like all of the photos, all of the prices, like the names of the products, everything, which makes it super easy for you to then tag these items in your posts. So another note about the integration and why it's just so nice if you can integrate it is that it continues to auto update. So if you have a sale, like right now we have a Valentine's Day sale going on. So a lot of our products, we have collections that are on sale. I didn't have to go in and edit any of our products. It automatically has them on sale. And we'll display this when we tag them in posts, which is super nice. If for whatever reason you aren't able to integrate your website with your Facebook, your business suite, you can always manually set it up. It's not hard. You can manually upload your products and services to your Facebook catalog. The only thing is, of course, then you just have to continue to, update it with photos. If an item is out of stock, make sure you pull it from your catalog. If a price has changed, make sure you update that, just so, you're displaying exactly the same stuff that's on your website. So once you have your catalog set up in your Commerce Manager, it then creates that shop that we're talking about on your Facebook and your Instagram accounts that people can view. This is just one more way to showcase your business offerings. So as you can see, I have that tiny, the little screenshot of like our bio. It says view shop. Once you click that, it pulls up that shop and people can basically get the quick snapshot of like, oh, the products, and they can kind of look through what's available through your business. Perfect. And then one other note, just tagging the products and services on your posts. Any excuse to do this is obviously just the best, because it basically just continues driving traffic to your website, gives you extra opportunities to showcase your business, showcase your offerings. And then also once you have your catalog set up, you can also then, when you're sharing to your Instagram and your Facebook story, you can tag products there too. So this is a really important piece of setting up like your social media, your Facebook and Instagram specifically for success for your business. Next, I want to talk about planning and scheduling out your content. So I know Jared Suna had all those amazing images. So then what do you do with them? How do you plan out when you are going to actually send out all of those amazing images and all that amazing content? You definitely want to have a content calendar. It's a lifesaver. I have a screenshot here of the one that we use. It's from HubSpot. It is a free template, so free, and it is already set up for you, and then you can customize it as you go, which is super awesome, and color code everything, whether it's holidays or sales or events that you need to keep track of. So this will make your life so much easier, speaking from experience, and allow you to build out and organize your marketing strategy to coincide with events, holidays, sales, etc., ongoing. Basically, also a content calendar helps you never miss important dates, and it allows you to share product offerings that might coincide with a holiday. So, there's all those kind of national today holidays out there, like National Chocolate Cake Day or something. If you are a bakery, you probably want to share something on National Chocolate Cake Day. This helps you keep track of when that is and can help you plan out your content for I know on February 19th, I'm going to send out a post for National Chocolate Cake Day. Perfect. You don't have to keep it in your mind. It's on the content calendar. Good. So it's super helpful that way. As I mentioned, we have our Valentine's Day sale going on right now. So this helped us plan out okay, obviously Valentine's Day is February 14th. When do we want to start that sale? When do we want to start talking about it on social media and sharing it in our newsletter and all that good stuff? So I can't speak highly enough of organizing your content. It helps you nail down your marketing strategy, and it's amazing. So kind of going off planning out your content and using all that content that Suna talked about that you have planned and like curated are scheduling platforms. So once you have this all planned out and you kind of have your marketing strategy nailed down, you definitely want to utilize scheduling platforms for your business. They will save you time, they will save you energy, mental energy. So a few scheduling platforms that exist are Hootsuite, Sprout Social. There's Social Studio, that is a Salesforce product. So if you use Salesforce or CRM, that could be, you could add it to the suite of products that you have with Salesforce already. And then also there is a free tool. It's in the Meta Business Suite for Facebook. And that one, of course, is just for Facebook and Instagram, though. So it depends really on how many social channels you have and how many you need to integrate into a scheduling platform. At the W Marketplace, we have quite a few social channels, so we use Hootsuite. Hootsuite does have a free plan. We use a paid plan because there is a certain max number of posts you can send out, all that good stuff. So really, there are so many platforms out there, though, that you can utilize that I'm sure there will be one that is good for your business. So basically what these do, they can help you plan out your social for a week or more in advance. One nice thing that I've done in the past is setting up a cadence. Like every Friday, I'm going to go in and plan out, okay, what content do we want to go out for the next week and get it all scheduled out. And it feels so good the next week when you come in on Monday and all of your like organic social is planned out for the week, automatically publishes onto the channels. You just have to check the channels and, engage with people that are commenting and all that stuff. But that's one, lifesaver of these scheduling platforms that can help. Once you begin regular posting on these platforms, they will also begin to track like best times for posting. And they start to offer recommendations. Many of them do recommendations on like the best times to post on specific channels, which saves you time and energy in trying to figure out like, what is the best time to post on Instagram for the best engagement? When's the best time to post on LinkedIn? Should I be posting on these channels at different times? What works best? So they can start to offer those most optimal times and recommendations, which is amazing and saves you energy. The other important thing about these platforms is they offer analytics. Of course, you want to compare, month over month, quarter over quarter, year over year, what is working best with your content strategy. So for instance, we just had the holidays. You might want to look back at the holidays and say, ooh, what has worked best? What hasn't worked best? And just kind of go from there, mark that. It gives you a way to just look back and check out what's working best with your marketing strategy. Am I running out of time? I know I'm running out of time.
I just wanted to make sure we didn't run out of time for any questions. So I don't want to cut you off, but we need to have questions and then time to get into the next section too.
Okay, I'll just touch on really quick. So I only have 2 more slides. So this is a quick one. Just these are a few ideas for upping your brand awareness and your engagement on social. So of course, speaking opportunities, giveaways, because you can dictate the terms of what people need to do to win the giveaway, whether it's comments, whether it's sharing on your social, whether it's tagging 3 friends and having them follow your account. So, and partnerships, of course, with other brands to like and share each other's content. There's so many marketing groups out there that are open to kind of building brand awareness for each other. So that's one option. And then my last slide is just a quick touch on iOS updates. I know everyone is talking about iOS updates right now. I just wanted to quickly go over it. Basically, audiences, what you can see if you are newer to ads, and I'm specifically talking about like Facebook and Instagram ads too, audience size will decrease, but ways you can get around that is just making sure you have that Facebook pixel installed. It will still track website visitors that haven't opted out, and Facebook can still then optimize your audiences and target people and mirror people that have came to your brand and visited your website. So it can still, you can still make it work. It'll be fine. Your audience will just be a little bit smaller. Campaign objectives, we've heard from a Facebook marketing consultant that we've worked with. And for campaign objectives, it used to be optimize for purchases. You'll want to start optimizing for add to cart. Same thing, you'll want to start optimizing for link clicks versus landing page views. One last thing I want to touch on is the Facebook ads library. If you are newer to putting up ads and you're kind of just starting out and you want to see what other people in your industry are posting for their ads, the Facebook ads library, you can literally go in there and like look at specific industries, specific business categories, and see what other people are sharing. And that can kind of give you an idea. Okay, what questions? Sorry.
Well, we just have one question,
Yeah.
Lynn. How do you figure out what a good click-through rate is? Do you have some tips on that?
Yeah, so click-through rates. So basically click-through rates, I always, Google is amazing. So I have a few sources that I've used just from doing like research on like, okay, what can I expect out of these ads? And I think, Colleen, I think I might have provided the links. So if you could share those couple links, it kind of gives a breakdown of what is a click-through rate. And then it also gives you a breakdown of by industry, which is nice. What is a good click-through rate to expect? And then average click-through rate, because it does vary by industry too. So.
And then just for the sake of time, if thanks for dropping those in, calling those links. I think we can wait to the end if there's any more questions for WM Marketplace, or we can put them in the chat. I did share y'all's one-pager handout as well. So thank you so much.
Yay. Okay, cool. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. That was great. We're gonna move now. Bren, if you would like to join us. Hey, Bren. Good afternoon. I just requested your camera. Bren, can you hear us? Could you maybe put a note in the chat box if you're having issues? Oh, okay. So you will need to be logged in on a computer, not on an iPhone. Just FYI. Oh, good. Colleen's getting tater tots for lunch. Great. You are at the computer. Are you able to join the stage? I mean, you're on the stage, but are you able to? Device permission isn't granted. Let me see. So I just gave you it says camera on, microphone on. So I don't know if it's a settings thing on your computer. Give me 1 second. Yes, Lisa, we will definitely share the link for the Saltbox presentation. Give me 1 second, Bren. Let me see if I can do some quick troubleshooting for you. All right. In a last minute change of events, we're going to have Lucy present, who is also, knows a ton about fulfillment. So Bryn, if you're able to get on, just let us know and come onto the stage. But I'm going to let Lucy take it from here.
Hi. So I am Lucy. I started off with Saltbox as our launch manager, helping open up our Dallas, Seattle, LA, and Denver locations, and have just transitioned over to the sales team. So a huge component of the sales team is really elevating our products. And Jared did a really great job of talking about content that works, right? So if we have the right content that works, and we have the right marketing that works, we should see a lift in overall sales. So once your sales works, how do you really start expanding out of your home when you think about a logistics solution? So when is it time to upgrade? As your e-commerce business grows, there's a variety of reasons you may need to upgrade out of your home. So one of the big ones is space needed for inventory and supplies. You have more orders to process than time in the day. There are frequent trips to the post office. You're receiving large deliveries at home, or you can't receive large deliveries at home because a 18-foot semi doesn't fit in your community, or you're just really needing that space to really grow and maximize your business. So there are options, and the options that you have really fall kind of under two spectrums. So the first one is managing your own space. So getting your own space and running your business from start to end. And the second component is handing it over to a third-party logistics provider.
Hey, Lucy, I got it figured out.
Wonderful. Okay, and I am going to go ahead and let Miss Bryn finish this off for us.
Awesome. All right. Thank you also for the introduction, Lucy. I'll go ahead and get started. Sorry about that. I don't know why I didn't have browser permissions, but all worked out now. So yeah, like Lucy was saying, you're kind of at a point, you're starting to grow out of your house. You have these options and they feel very, very different. It's kind of that, hey, do I start to look at my own space? Do I say I'm going to go and outsource my options? And whenever you think of these options, right, they feel very distinct and they typically have certain pros and cons that are associated with it, right? So if you are renting your own warehousing space, you're giving yourself the keys to have that direct control of the unboxing experience that your customers are going to have. So if part of your experience is you have everything really nicely wrapped in tissue paper, folded up perfectly, and that's super important for your customers, that is a big plus that you can get from that kind of space and that kind of management. You're able to plan your expenses in advance, right? You know what your rent is going to be. You know, kind of, hey, this is about what my utility cost will be. This is what I'm paying for labor. It allows you to really plan some of those pieces out. You can use your space in the way that you need it and can constantly kind of add new flexibility in there if you want to launch a new SKU, right? There's no risk if it doesn't sell a whole bunch or if it doesn't meet order thresholds, right? The obvious drawbacks there is, that's kind of on you. You're paying to manage the cost of a warehouse, and the costs of the warehouse are both the cost of the physical warehouse itself, but also those costs to run it, right? Utilities. Are you using a platform to manage your inventory? Other technology types of fees that you're all kind of having to absorb that and take on figuring out how you're going to manage it. And then ultimately it kind of ties into that last piece where you're really the manager of your own fulfillment operations. If this is something where it's super new for you, it might be really bringing you out of your comfort zone. When you think of a 3PL, right, one of the big benefits is, hey, something takes off. You have a particular product and it just, hey, it skyrockets and there's all these orders for things. How do you get them out? Well, for the 3PL, really, hey, you've been able to hand it over. They have a scale of a network to just quickly grow if your volume spikes. Your inventory, your orders are managed through the software. So you're really able to get accurate inventory counts. You don't oversell on something when you don't actually have it. You can make sure that orders, all that tracking information is automatically uploaded. All of that is just managed for you and not manually managed. Access to discounted carrier rates. typically shipping is, going to be one of the most expensive per order types of costs that you're taking on. So how do you get discounts there? How do you save, magnitudes of dollars per order? And then what does that, you also get kind of that optimized physical infrastructure, low cost per unit. The issue here is obviously you're not with your inventory and you don't have that direct control to what that unboxing experience is. So how do you kind of work in that lack of direct human access? And then part of that, hey, you could predict your costs in advance. This is the opposite. Your costs could be a surprise to you. Are there hidden fees that you don't know about? Do you not meet a minimum for a particular month because sales were a little bit unpredictable? And so what you can really boil that down to, renting your own warehouse, flexibility, cost predictability can really control what your brand experience is. What that 3PL is really getting you is kind of some of that leverage and that time back. So this really kind of comes down to what is that flexibility worth to you, right? And so one of the ways that I have looked at this, even whenever we do some of this for our own members and are trying to help them decide between some of the different products that Saltbox offers, what do you really need to achieve there? And so one of the ways that I like to look at this is through, and I know we're like just about at time, so I'm going to brush over this slide really quick and just work it through in this example here. I call it a cost per order model. What you're really trying to do here is, if you think about rent, right, that's a cost that you're paying every month. And so sometimes what someone might do is, hey, I have my rent, I have my utilities, I have my technology fees. Those are monthly costs, apples. I then have costs that I pay for every order, the cost for the labor to process the order, the cost to print out the shipping label. And I have my cost per order, right? And so they start to separate them out into two different buckets, but something that can be really helpful when you're really trying to boil down to this point and say, what actually does it cost me to send out my order, is normalizing, making your apples and oranges combine. And the way I like to do that is, what is that cost per order? And really every line item of everything that you pay, how does that tie into a per order kind of cost? And so for this example, you kind of have, hey, say you're doing 5,000 orders a month, you have your own warehouse space that you're renting, your cost of rent is $3,000 a month, right? So, hey, for your own warehouse, how do you translate that rent into its own per order cost in there? For the 3PL, what are they going to charge you for storage, right? Kind of compare each of those ones in there. So some of the examples in here, I don't think this is comprehensive, but kind of that storage cost, that labor costs for the physical box, the supplies that you need to pack something out. If you have a manager, right? So if you have kind of hired someone on that's managing the day-to-day fulfillment operations, that's something you'd have in your own warehouse, not something that would be on that 3PL side. What's the cost from a shipping perspective? If you are paying for the shipping, right, then hey, that's a cost that you might be in there. Maybe that's $9 on average. Maybe the 3PL can get that for $8.50. If you're passing shipping costs along to your customers, that might make sense. But how you kind of bake that in from a margin perspective is really going to vary off of what you're selling in there. And there's definitely a balance between, do I pass this shipping cost along to my customer in fear that, hey, they might abandon my cart because consumers are so trained for this 2-day shipping expectation and not needing to pay for it? Does that actually cause higher cart abandonment rate, right? So a lot to think about, but really wanting to kind of minimize that as a cost. Receiving something, any technology fee that you may need to be paying. And again, your goal is to try and get this to this normalized value that you can compare this option to this option. And you can start to see hey, maybe you're looking around, what are some other 3PL options out there, and being able to compare them kind of column by column to say, which is really the best option in here, right? So the last piece to consider in here. So one of the things, hey, 5,000 orders a month, when you're doing this type of comparison from, your own warehouse to that 3PL, this, particular one, hey, it would be $2,500 more per month, right, for the 3PL option, so more expensive. always very important though to consider what is that value of that time, right? So if you were spending, call it like 10 hours a week, 40 hours a month, just managing the day-to-day, managing the intricacies in here, what do you think, hey, what is that time worth to you? Could you make up for that amount in revenue if you had that time to be spending on your orders there instead? So that's kind of just like a comparison that you can do there. One of the biggest pieces, I'll go into this on the next slide, but you can start to see it's like, well, how do I know what are all of these rows? That's really easy to plan on your own warehouse side. Again, you're kind of controlling those. You can know the inputs and outputs there. When it comes to the 3PL, there's going to be a lot of stuff when you're having some of these initial conversations where, hey, maybe you get a pricing sheet, right? And they're like, this is what's out there. But sometimes what's really good is just to ask a list of questions and make sure that you really know everything that is out there, right? So the sections on these slides are just bucketed into kind of different areas. So receiving, orders, storage, and then just like various monthly fees. I know I'm over time, so I'll touch on them really quick. For receiving, what's kind of that cost to receive, but more importantly, are there receiving requirements that you're going to have your manufacturer do, and your manufacturer is going to charge you for those. So how do you incorporate in maybe particular labeling requirements, barcoding requirements? How do you kind of factor those pieces in? If you don't meet those requirements, would there be fees associated with it? And you want to make sure you're trying to avoid any of those potential fees. So that's one part of it. Other part, from an order processing standpoint, thing to always watch out for is, hey, is this truly kind of a flat fee? Or if I'm doing lots of units in an order, or I sell combos, right? Where, hey, people normally buy, a candle and then something else together. If they have that combo item and that's 2 different SKUs, sometimes there might be an increase where if you have different SKUs, then you also kind of go up in amount there. From a storage perspective, understand what you're going to get charged for. The big one in here is really the how many SKUs that you have could actually affect what you're having to pay for here. So if they are doing a per bin or a per pallet, that typically means that they'll have to have one of those for every one of your SKUs, and you're paying for that full amount, whether that bin is super full or whether it's empty, right? So you'll want to be able to kind of do that comparison there. And the last one, so this is really, I mentioned like technology fee, right? But there's all of these other things that might be just a monthly fee. Maybe there is a monthly order minimum, and if you don't hit it, there might be fees associated with it. There might be like a technology, another reoccurring type of fee. There might be a contract commitment where you need to stay with them for a certain number of months, right? So there's other types of things to double check on. That is, what's this commitment? What are some of these other pieces in here? And then again, trying to normalize that back into that cost per order type of framework. And then last one in here. So one of the things that I always like to stress, and whenever I think of Saltbox and what can Saltbox bring, I know a lot of people did introductions about the company at the start, but I wanted to end it on, what Saltbox I think has really tried to do is it doesn't need to be, hey, your own warehouse is one thing and a 3PL is totally this other thing, and there's nothing in between there, no gray area, no middle ground to find. You have a lot of options on, hey, how can I be flexible and get the best of kind of both of these things that have their own inherent positive flexibilities in there. So just as an example, say you sell lots of stuff on your website, but you have a particular item, something that you sell, it's called SKU on here, but it has very consistent volume. It's going to meet those order minimums. You can send maybe just that SKU to the 3PL, and you continue your at-home fulfillment for items where you don't know as much about them. Their sales data isn't as predictable, and really have that time where you're still learning and you can kind of separate those two out. And so, hey, you get that like leverage from the 3PL to get those items done, but you don't have to be tied in necessarily with all of your SKUs if you don't know as much about them yet. Another scenario, if you're finding, kind of your shipping costs are growing in an area that's super far from home, you may be able to work with a 3PL to be able to say, hey, I want you to take these orders that are shipping from super far away. I have enough order volume to kind of satisfy that area, but I'm going to hold on to stuff in my own warehouse or in my own kind of home base where I can keep shipping from here, right? Bring that shipping cost down and try and minimize there, right? Finding unique ways that you can combine the two spaces together to kind of get the best of both scenarios. And questions?
And thank you everyone for joining today. Sorry about some of the technical difficulties. Bren, if it's okay with you, I would like to offer for people to reach out to you directly if they have questions about your presentation today.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you have general questions about Saltbox's offerings, you can find that at saltbox.com. But Bren's email is bren@saltbox.com. I just dropped it in the chat box. And we will be happy to chat more with you. Anything else you'd like to add before we hop off, Bren?
No, that's everything. Sorry
Okay.
about the technical difficulties.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Have an awesome afternoon. We'll talk soon.